everyone, this is Nikki Rowland, and today I have a layout for GoGo Getaway that I'm sharing as part of our Cybercrop challenge that took place in April, and my challenge was a colour scheme. And the colours that I've chosen are from the No Limits collection by Coco Vanilla Studio. You could, of course, do any other collection as well that uses the same colours. So this is the collection I chose to use. I've actually gone quite a bit darker than the colour scheme, but then I have incorporated all of those colours as accents onto the layout too. I have 2 sheets of the same paper, so that wonderful galaxy style background, and the other side of that paper is this concentric circle paper. So I had to have 2 sheets of this in order to make this layout, because isn't it so annoying when your favorite paper, you love the back as well. I had to buy 2 sheets. I don't always do that. I rarely do that. I make myself choose, but on this occasion I got 2 of this paper. So I wanted to make this, I wanted to kind of create a galaxy style background where I wanted circles on the background with this paper. I feel like it looks like space, traveling around the circles throughout space. I'm not sure if that really makes much sense, but but it does to me. So that's what I wanted to do, was make this these concentric circles, or use those from this paper. It's kind of like an orbit, isn't it? That's the word I'm looking for. So that's what I was aiming for. I thought I would cut these out and then position them onto the black background and see how it looked. Now, the reason I wanted to make this layout look like it was in space is because my little boy is dressed as an alien, because for World Book Day he went in dressed as his favourite book, which is Aliens Love Underpants. So he is dressed as an alien and he has underpants on over the top of his alien costume. So great fun. And my photos from that day are very, very cute. So I thought I'd go for those. But there we go. So I'm trying to work out how to do this. Do I have them centrally? Do I have them anchored down into one corner? And eventually that's what I did decide to do, anchor it down into one corner, and then everything else can be orbiting around the middle point. So I thought that I do love a border on my layout, so I decided to make the background a bit smaller and then mount it onto black cardstock. So I've just trimmed that down probably to about 11.5 inches square. I'm going to distress the edges and stick that to a piece of black cardstock, and then that gives me that nice edge that I always seem to crave. Whenever I use pattern paper, I just never feel that it looks finished. I feel that it needs to be trimmed a bit and stuck onto some cardstock, even if that cardstock is just white cardstock. Quite often I just feel that I just need that really crisp edge, which I don't feel that you get with pattern paper. You probably do, but it's probably in my head. Okay, so I am sticking that down onto there. That looks lovely. And then I've worked out that my circles are going to go anchored down to that left corner. I'm also going to distress the edges of all of these, and I'm going to stitch around them on my sewing machine. Okay, so that is all stitched in place. I've also cut out my photos, so I cut around the subject of the photo because it just worked better. So now I really wanted a little alien spaceship, but there wasn't one as part of the No Limits ephemera, so I've made one myself. So basically I just sat there and drew a little spaceship onto a piece of just copy paper, and then I have put some details on it and then cut the whole thing up into pieces, and then stuck it back together onto some white cards, or I think it's white card. So I picked out the colours from the No Limits paper pack, the 6x8. You can see my little alien spaceship there. I'm just cutting out the different pieces. So I wanted a darker bit at the bottom, a lighter bit just under the the glass and then the glass bit at the top. So you can see the colours I've picked out, and it's all going to kind of piece back together again. I'm going to have to stick it onto a background. But that works well, because if I stick it onto white, then I can trim around the white background and leave an outline, and then it will actually look like a piece of ephemera. I'm now just cutting some little holes with a hole punch, and I'm going to use those little teeny tiny circles as the little holes on the, or I don't know what they are, the studs, the detailing on the spaceship. Anyway, you can see it's kind of coming together now. You see how I did that? I layered it, and it did nothing more than just draw it with a pencil. I'm not an artist. I just copied one off of Google and had to rub out multiple times. Trust me, I'm not clever for doing this. There you go, it's my little spaceship. He's looking very cute. I ran out of holes. I kept losing them. They kept flying off the table, I think, or getting stuck inside the hole punch. But it's looking pretty cute. I do really love how this little spaceship turned out, and it just needed a spaceship because of the layout, so the subject of the layout. So there is my little spaceship. He's a little bit wonky, but that's fine. I'm going around the details in a grey pen, so I chose not to go for black. I went for grey, which is fairly dark anyway, just to give it some definition. I say it turned out super well. I even went around all the little holes as well. Not that they're holes, the little tiny circles. So I went around all of those as well. But they were still a little bit gluey, so my pen stopped working partway through. So that's why I keep rubbing it onto the brown paper I've got in the background. The trials and tribulations of not waiting for things to be dry. Anyway, there it is, all finished. Very, very cute. And so now I'm thinking that it doesn't quite look right, and that's because it's not mounted onto white paper or card. So I've just stuck that there onto that leftover piece of copy paper, actually, that I used to draw the drawing. And then I'm going to trim around it, and then hey presto, it looks like a piece of ephemera. So I'm so happy with how that turned out. Awesome, totally awesome. So there we go, and he can just sit anywhere now. So I wanted the rockets and the spaceship to be kind of traveling around the rings on the layout, so orbiting around. So there we go, and I'm going to put lots of stars on as well, of course, because they're my favourite. So now I can get on with adding all the fun parts, all of the little embellishments. This is the bit that I love the most. But main bones of the layout complete, and now just get to add all the fun little details. So that's what I'm doing. In the No Limits collection, there's lots of stars, different styles, some open, some those, I don't know what they're called, the 5-point stars where they go cross through the middle. Lots of those, and there's some normal stars as well. I'm just adding and adding and adding, having great fun doing that, raising most of them on foam pads because that's generally what I like to do. I'm just going to keep building on this layout and building up the detail. And it all comes together really well, actually. Okay, so lots of stars added, and now I'm going to get my title in place. So I've gone for the title of the book, which is Aliens Love Underpants, and I've used really tiny thickers. Do you remember those? They're pretty old. I think they were Page Evans, and I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get these, actually, because I don't have any of those left. But somebody else who was sat next to me had them in their stash. Thank you very much. I used those, and they were perfect. So you sometimes just need small letters, don't you? But I love foam, so I prefer to use small foam letters, but they're quite rare these days. They're normally quite big, aren't they? Anyway, so Aliens Love Underpants is now in place. I had to move the rocket because I didn't quite have enough room for the title, but I like the way that that's kind of curving round one of the rings, that's come together really well. I'm nearly done. Just trying to see if there's any other ephemera that I can add to the page. I want to build up the cluster around that bottom photo a little bit more and see how that comes together. I just felt like it needed a bit, because it's all anchored to the bottom left corner. I just felt like that embellishment cluster needed to be a bit bigger in order to kind of balance it all. And I've just added that little bit at the top there that says "Let's go." And underneath the photo, I've got a little ticket that says Total Legend. And then, of course, I want to add some beautiful Bramble Fox stars because they're awesome. I think I'm going to be out of Bramble Fox stars after this. There might be a couple left, but I'll have to do some restocks. Yeah, I've got a variety of open stars and closed stars, so or solid ones. So yeah, going to add all of those as well. There was that little piece of ephemera which is a little bit too long, so I just chopped that off and it fitted nicely under the star. Then I have this little alien or monster left over from a Halloween pack of monsters a few years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, from Bramble Fox. Love those little monsters with googly eyes. And I had this red one left over. He didn't go with anything at the time. But he's been sat in my drawer ever since, and I'm so pleased that I finally got him onto a layout because he's super cute. You know, I could never get rid of him. He had to be used. So perfect. It went with these colours really well. So yeah, it's all coming on. I put another little ticket under the title, not the title, the ticket that says Total Legend under the photo that says Out of This World. My little monster stuck in place, just getting all my stars stuck in place with glossy accents. Yeah, it's all nearly done. It's taken a while, this layout. It was I thought it would come together easier than this because I had, you sometimes have a vision in your mind of how something's going to look, and then the execution of such vision doesn't go as easy as you expect it to. Well, that was definitely the case on this layout. But I do love how it turns out. It's so cute. And I do love a layout where you have a story behind it too. A lot of my photos are just nice photos, but on this occasion I actually had a good story to tell too. So just shaking some white paint over the layout as well, yeah, pretty much done. I do add some journaling with a white pen, but I don't think I do that on camera because my paint's wet and I've forgotten to add it before I've done my paint splatters. Yeah, I'll get that into that middle circle. So there we go, all finished. I hope you enjoyed the Cybercrop and this colour challenge. Yeah, here is my finished layout, some close-ups there. The photos aren't that great, sorry about that. Yeah, I hope you'll join in next time with the Cybercrop. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for GoGo Getaway using the No Limits collection by Coco Vanilla Studio.